Imagine someone standing at the edge of a rooftop, not to jump, but to think. Thinking about life, about failures, about why nothing ever seems enough. Now imagine that person turning toward the camera, looking straight at you, and saying, if you're watching this right now, I wish someone had told me earlier that comparison is the thief that silently steals your entire life. And with those words, our story begins. If you feel even a little connected already, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because today's story might change someone's life, maybe even yours. A young man named Rayhan lived in a small but bustling city, working quietly in a modest office. He wasn't the smartest there, nor the fastest, nor the most charming, at least that's what he believed. Every morning he watched people around him shine, a coworker who always got praised by the boss, another who dressed perfectly, another who spoke fluently with confidence Rayhan wished he had. He told himself he was ordinary, too ordinary. And that belief slowly became a chain around his heart. Rayhan's days were fine on the surface, but inside he carried a storm. When he scrolled through social media, his heart dropped further, friends buying cars, traveling abroad, achieving goals he hadn't even started. He felt late in life, as if everyone else was living a movie and he was stuck watching from the back row. His self-worth collapsed piece by piece, quietly and painfully. He wanted to be someone else, anyone else. His nights became long, filled with questions that hurt. Why am I not like them? Why can't I be enough? He didn't realize he was slowly losing himself in a race he was never meant to run. One evening, after another exhausting day of comparing himself with everyone around him, he visited his childhood home. His mother noticed the heaviness on his face. Without asking anything, she simply said, "Come with me." She walked him to the backyard, where an old mango tree stood, the same tree he used to climb as a child. Its branches were uneven, twisted, flawed, just like life itself. His mother pointed at the tree and said, "Do you see this? Every branch grows at its own pace. Some grow fast, some slow, some bend, some break, but all of them reach the sun eventually. Not a single one ever looks at the other and says, 'Why aren't I like you?'" Rayhan didn't understand fully, but her words planted a seed. Days passed, and life continued. One afternoon at work, his company announced an internal competition. Each participant had to present a project idea that could help improve the workplace. The prize was small, but the recognition was huge. Everyone around Rayhan was excited. He wasn't. Not because he didn't have ideas, but because he believed others would always be better. Why even try, he thought. Others are smarter. Others are confident. Others are more talented. Comparison once again crushed his courage. That night, unable to sleep, he went back to the old mango tree. He sat beneath it, recalling his childhood, how fearless he used to be, how he climbed the tree even when he scraped his knees, how he laughed even when he fell, how he never compared himself to any other kid. He closed his eyes tightly, as if trying to find the boy he had once been. And then he heard his mother's voice again, not in the air, but in his memory. Every branch reaches the sun in its own time. For the first time in a long time, he allowed himself to breathe freely. He allowed himself to be who he was, imperfect, unique, growing at his own pace. That night, from a place deep inside, came an idea for the company presentation, simple but meaningful. He spent hours shaping it, not to beat someone else, not to impress the world, but just to express himself honestly. The day of the competition arrived. Everyone presented their ideas confidently, loudly, with slides and graphics. When Rayhan's turn came, his hands trembled. His voice shook. But he spoke anyway, honestly, slowly, and from his heart. He didn't try to be better than anyone. He tried to be himself. And that made all the difference. When he finished, there was silence, not uncomfortable, but thoughtful. Then the audience began clapping. Not because his idea was the most advanced, but because it was genuine, practical, and filled with sincerity. By the end of the event, the announcement came: Rayhan had won the competition. His co-workers looked at him with new eyes, and for the first time in months, he looked at himself with new eyes too, but the real victory wasn't the trophy. It was the realization that had finally settled in his heart: the only person he ever needed to compete with was the person he was yesterday. From that day on, he stopped measuring his life with someone else's ruler. He stopped scrolling endlessly through social media comparing highlights of others with the behind-the-scenes of his own life. He didn't try to dress like others, talk like others, or succeed like others. Instead, every morning he asked himself only one question: how can I grow a little today? People around him noticed the change. Rayhan walked with more lightness, spoke with more calm, smiled without forcing it. He wasn't perfect, not even close, but he was finally living as himself. And because of that, his life slowly, beautifully, began to bloom. Months later, standing on his office rooftop overlooking the city lights, he thought back to the person he used to be. He imagined speaking to the thousands of people who felt the way he once felt. And in that moment, he whispered the same words that opened our story: if you're listening, comparison is the thief that steals your joy, your peace, your life. Don't let it. Your time will come. Your journey is yours. And you are enough.